what I do, even if you combine what I've been trained to do,
Mm-hmm.
is find people
Yes.
and try to create healthier versions of who they are that allows them to not only live longer, but to enjoy a lot more life experiences with the people that they love.
Well, hello, StemToRoots. This is Mike Demba. This is where we plan on talking our way into a plan. Today is a special day for me. I'm going to do all I can not to be a fanboy in front of everybody, but I have somebody really special. And Doc, here's how I'm going to start this conversation today, right? I sit with you in a plane, right? We're going to India, right? It's a long flight from the US. I don't know how many hours. I know close to 24 hours. And I happen to sit next to you and I go, my name is Mike Demba. I'm a host of this podcast called StemToRoots. And what are you going to tell me in that first 30 seconds?
My name is Ismail and I'm a father.
Doc, I knew it. I knew because I followed you for so long. The humility, just how you carry yourself. I knew that was exactly what you were going to say. And that's why I will take over this introduction, because this is exactly what you will do. You'll say, I'm Ismail, I'm a father. Well, for those that don't know you, you are Dr. Ismail Badjie. A man that ever since, I've been following your work, I've seen that you're an innovator. You're somebody that inspires people. You're a speaker, an author. We've talked about the father part. You're a parent. You come from a family that those of us that know your family, a very respectable family. You're somebody that wants to give, at the same time an entrepreneur who is also embracing the capitalism side of things in order to actually, I've heard you say over and over, in order to be able to give, in order to be able to do what you do, something needs to come in, because that's how things flow. You are more than all these things that I've said, and people will find this out as we talk. Where I want to start is, my introduction to you is from a very, very, very popular speech that you gave on the 4 C's, and you were talking to a Gambian audience. For those that have not heard that speech, I want you to touch on those 4 C's, and when you targeted that Gambian audience, why that was an important message to convey.
No, thank you so much. And I'm so honored that you decided to reach out to me to share your platform as well, too. So I'm really grateful. Something interesting about that speech that I don't think I've talked about, the genesis of that speech. I did not prepare for that speech going into the event.
No way.
And it felt like an out-of-body experience looking back at it, because they invited me to the event. Oftentimes, certain events, I don't prepare for the speech. I arrive at the event to kind of see who my audience is and come up with something that I think would be valuable, right? And I still have the Apple Note that I was sitting down and saying, okay, what are the 4 things I want people to get away from what I'm going to talk about? I realized, okay, it was January, so typically that speech happened a couple of days after the New Year. So I'm always in a reflective state in that moment. And I was looking at young Gambians, and I felt like, okay, I need to be as honest as possible with what I think are the core components needed to build our nation, right? And that's how the genesis of the 4 C's came, because if I realize what keeps me grounded in terms of who I am, my journey, it's always been love of nation, meaning being a compatriot. But over the years, I was becoming more disheartening because I felt like being Gambian, going back to Gambia, doesn't give you an advantage, because we really don't love nation like we should. right? So that was
Yes.
where I wanted to start. And then the next C that I wanted to talk about, obviously, was capacity.
Capacity.
Because something also I noticed in Gambia, for whatever reason, we don't value competency. Like a lot of our problems in Gambia is because we know people who are capable of doing
Yes.
certain things.
Yes. Yes.
But connection means more than capacity in the Gambia, or competency. And a lot of young people now, it's dangerous because they're also not valuing building themselves up to be capable in order to change our country. So which is why, as long as I spoke about, being a compatriot or loving nation, I wanted to talk about capacity, because as somebody who's been in Gambia for 4 years now, our biggest crisis is human capital, as in the talent density is so low because the capacity is not there to build our nations.
Right.
And the reality is, people like me and you who are highly capable are outside of Gambia. So the most capable are not in Gambia. Yet we're wondering why Gambia is not being moved at the rate that it is, right? So I chose the, capacity as the second C. And the third C that I also, just from observations in the Gambia, was credibility.
Oh, wow.
There's a crisis of credibility in the Gambia, because oftentimes even the more capable people are not credible people. Meaning you cannot trust them with the affairs of the nation. You cannot trust them with the affairs of the people. You cannot trust them with who their character is when nobody is looking. And I think credibility is something that, if it's not an ethos, like the Japanese culture, as in honor and credibility is embedded in who they are, as in they will commit suicide because they have a character flaw. Right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Credibility was something that I wanted to talk about, once again, focusing on the audience, because Gambia is very young. And most people, if they don't start working on their character to be credible human beings, everything else doesn't matter.
Yes.
Right? And then the last C, I wrapped it up with it being courage, because for you to do anything in this world, the same way we were joking in the beginning that you were saying you're nervous, courage is almost like confirmation that something is important enough for you to do it.
For you to do it, for you to
but
put the effort. Yes.
Put the effort. Most people lack of courage. Courage could also be making hard decisions that are for the long term, knowing that short term people are not going to benefit.
Right.
Courage could be you having a business idea, to build a platform. Every single day, God is telling you that, Michael, I've already blessed you with this gift. Just go. But you find a reason not to go because there's a lack of courage, which is why it's not fearing. Courage is acting in spite of the fear. Because the fear is an illusion.
Right.
So that's honestly the genesis of the 4 C's. And Gano, who I love dearly, the young brother who put it together.
Yes.
Something about some of my speeches too, I don't remember the speech after I've given it.
But that one.
Right? So when he put it together and I saw it, I started having goosebumps because it literally felt like an out-of-body experience.
Every single time I listened to just how he made it, the production behind it, the tone, the delivery, right? On top of you just talking about these things, for me, things that are dear to me. I've listened to that speech more than I listened to a Bob Marley song, and that is high competition.
It's credit to Gano. Gano is so talented. It's really a gift, but also I tell people, if you're speaking from the heart, it's very easy. You don't have to curate it, because everything that I was saying, it's like I really, really believe in these things. And I've just observed Gambia from a distance and up close long enough where I'm always conscious of who could be listening, where I am intentional with my words.
And the way it was put together, not not only by him, but after how you put together the 4 C's to complete this cycle that actually can make a person that is going to be productive to our society whole.
Mm-hmm.
That was just, before I leave that speech, there's a part of that speech towards the end where you talked about, you mentioned, the our minds. I'll remind you in case you forgot. You mentioned how we think just as a human being, manifestation, being able to fixate your mind and focus on what you want in order to attract it to yourself. When I heard that, as a Gambian coming from Gambia, that is something that I've never heard coming from Gambia. It's a whole new, I don't know whether to label it as concept, but it's a whole new understanding for me that I've been living, I'll say, the last 3-4 years, right? Being able to focus enough, to actually attract things to myself, all by way of just thinking about it, staying positive, being around the people that will actually help me get there, instead of actually just hang around, negativity and all that. When you mentioned that, I said, that is new. That is new for a Gambian to hear, right? Because every now and then, people will mistake that for, we come from a place where, where we place religion, everything, we dare say blame God, right? Yala moko dogal. Oh, okay, yala. So everything is God, God, God. We forget our power that God has given us in being able to actually curate and actually, align ourselves with the right places. All on us. The responsibility of, what we accomplish 5 years from now is all on us. Leave God out of it. So that is actually, you have to have courage to say that, because people will mistake that for anti-religion, and it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but I think part of the deeper conversation I think our society needs to have is to start allowing individuals to separate religion and spirituality, right? And I say that because once you get to a point where you realize that you are God's instrument, as in you don't have to find God. God is in you. Every idea that you have, God put it in you for a reason.
That's what you said.
So it's one of those things where it becomes, that's why when people talk about even impact, success, I'm quick to divert the attention to, hey, I acknowledge that I'm God's instrument.
Yes.
And I know that no matter how difficult a gift is a responsibility. Anytime you have a gift, God, it's a responsibility that God gave it to you for a finite amount of time, with hopes that more people could benefit from the gift through him. So you're a vessel, right? So it becomes a deep relationship with this idea or this vision, that the moment it clicks and you really believe that, hey, this is what I'm here to do, it makes you start seeing the world in a very different perspective. And I think we're not taught that way, because we're taught to pray for God, for it to happen, wait for God, for God to make it happen. When God is saying, get up and make it happen, and then I'll see it happen.
Yes. This thought that just came in your head is a gift. Act on it. This intuition that you just felt, is actually me giving you what you just asked for. Act on it. And then we are waiting for it to be right on a silver platter before we say, oh, look at God. So when I heard that part of the speech, I said, who is this guy? So that was my introduction to you. And then I started being a fanboy. I want to go straight to this behemoth of an issue that you attacked head on, and what you're doing in Gambia, what you're doing in that region of sub-Saharan Africa, your target as far as the entire globe goes in what you're doing is a message that I want to take a part in, taking over to my audience, and beyond that, hopefully they will hear and spread. Because if anybody introduces you or talk about you and limit you to Gambia, that's a disservice. It will be so unfair. Doc, I wanna go straight to what your day job is, among all the other things that you're doing, what do you do?
To use it, I'm gonna try to describe it without using medical terms. uh, because also I suffer from people putting people in a box, as in this
Yes.
is what you are, right?
Yep. Yep.
I think what I do, even if you combine what I've been trained to do, is find people and try to create healthier versions of who they are that allows them to not only live longer, but to enjoy a lot more life experiences with the people that they love, right? That's at the core of what I do, finding people to help them create a healthier version of themselves, because I believe that's a right. It shouldn't be a privilege. But once you do that, you want to try to not only extend their life, you want to enrich their life with people around them. So if you see my training as a doctor of pharmacy working in the community, same concept. If you see now I've transitioned to building health systems in Africa, is the same concept. At the core of it, I think a chance at life that is enriched is dignified. And I believe fundamentally that we deserve it as Black people, right? That's why I do it, right? What I do and how I do it will always evolve. New technology,
yes, definitely.
New medications, new delivery methods. The what and the how will always shift with where we are in the world.
Right.
But why I do it will always remain the same, because I fundamentally believe that we deserve a dignified life. And healthcare is one of those things where, and you bundle healthcare, human development, employment creation, prosperity creation. It's just a trickling effect.
Yes.
And I'm just passionate about Africa being a different narrative. At the core of who I am is a Pan-Africanist.
Yes.
But also healthcare is just the vehicle that God kind of put me in to use as a way of just building a better Africa for everybody who is attached, connected to, came from the blessed continent that we have.
And we will get to that innovation. We'll get to that, just that thought for you to do what you're doing in Gambia and spreading it, around Africa. I can't wait to get to it for anybody that doesn't know. But just listening to you to say this, you've been that person that, anybody that listens to you, somebody can listen to whether it's a speech or a conversation that you have, and totally miss you as a doctor of pharmacy, somebody who is in medicine. Because, what I love about how you convey your message, and you just said it, is meeting people exactly where they are, and help elevate them and help show them that they are more than, where they are, to just, and growing up in Gambia, tiny little country, I left Gambia after high school. So to the core of it, that's what the foundation is. And even dreaming, I feel like even dreaming had walls around it. Because, around Gambia, and this is why now that things have shifted, I'm going to date myself here, graduated 2000, St. Augustine's. In 2000, when we didn't have this level of connectivity, social media, the internet, everybody has the world on their phone. The dream was around what you hear your friends say in class. I remember when everything that I wanted to do was go to America based on basketball and sneakers. Period. That's it, right? The rap world, basketball, sneakers. So if I'm in high school, last year of high school, and still that's my thought process, even with school, I want to, from this catalog that I'm looking at, mind you, no websites that were good enough for you to just browse, or I wouldn't even know where to go to browse. So that was when they used to send the catalogs. You'll apply, and the school will send you a book. Friends will bring it in class. You're flipping through pages, and you're looking at just, beauty, because it's marketing, right? You're looking at, oh my God, this is what I want to go to. Instead of education, I want to go for that beauty that I was looking at. Dreams were limited. So you're not seeing the world, beyond just those things. And now we have the capacity, we have access, to dream bigger than the world even has to offer. But today, I'm afraid, coming from home and still being disconnected to home. I have two younger brothers that are there. I have conversations where I see that we at home are still not dreaming enough. You've been working at home. You're employing young Gambians. How have you seen our young Gambians look beyond, just Banjul to Basse? What's the evolution, in case I've been away for too long?
And I'm always careful because I don't want to speak in a silo. But my general perspective is our generation were not only hungrier, but we're also willing to put in the work for a very long time. The younger generation now, for you to find a young person in Gambia who could sustain their focus and attention on something they want to do for 5 years is rare.
Long term.
They want it quick, fast, and their work ethic is actually slightly lower than our generation. And most people will say, hey, here goes Uncle Ismail talking down to young people. Before I used to think it, right now, I have gone through almost 250 Gambians in 4 years, and I only have about 72 employees. So I understand the psychology of the Gambian worker, and majority of my staff have been younger than 30. I think about 90% of all the people that we've provided employment for have been younger than 30. And I could tell you there's a pattern. There's a void. They don't have a lot of role models because a lot of the Gambians either are outside of Gambia, so they don't know of, Michael's career path to be able to know it. But the biggest missing piece is a sustained focus and willingness to put in the work, not instant gratification, to chase after something for a very long time, right? I think that's the difference between, because same thing, graduated high school, I knew, okay, I'm going into the medical field, meaning I am committing to being a student till I was 28 years old when I graduated from Purdue University, right? So for you, at that point, I'm like, I'm not worried about life. I'm not worried about earning money. I am going to chase this until I get it. That's the one thing that's missing. So, and the thing is, because Gambia is an environment where now mediocrity is celebrated so quick that the younger you are and you have a slightly higher level of talent or capacity, it makes you lazier because now you think you've arrived when in a global field, you can't even compete outside of Senegambia because the moment you cross Senegal, there's millions of youth who are hungrier, continue learning than you're willing to do. So that's, and it scares me because, Michael, the average age in Gambia is 16.6 years old.
No way. I didn't know that.
That's the average. Almost 80, upwards of 80% of our population are under 40 years old, right? But if you look at where we are today in terms of human capital and capacity, I'm telling you, even the good ideas that are dying in Gambia, it's not because the founders of the organizations don't have a good idea. Yeah. We don't have the human capital or capacity to execute because our younger generation, unfortunately, we're missing something, because if you're not getting it in schools, because our education system has been a disaster for a while, and then the home structure is not there, we're not building a breed of Gambian that could transform the society as fast as I think we can. because for every
Mm.
10 Gambians that you find, you may find one or two that are really in the process of building themselves up and not falling prey to, falling victim to that mindset of instant gratification, going through multiple jobs, always trying to get more money and things of that nature. So that's just my honest assessment. I may be
And
wrong, but
no,
that's
Doc.
been my experience.
That's why I asked you. I asked you because you are in the position to give that honest answer, like the kids say, because you have receipts. And the receipt you just gave as an employer who has gone through, CVs, resumes, who has gone through conversations, who has gone through looking at that talent pool, how many people raise their hand to say, I'll do the job versus, whatever the test is, to see whether the person can do the job. This number that you gave, 250 and then 72, like it's a number that is a good stress test as far as Gambia goes, because I've been talking about the education side for a long time. Even here on the platform, I talk about the fact that, every year, when Gambia University has the graduation, and I see how many lawyer degrees that we have, looking at a country where, litigation is not at that level where you can have all these many lawyers running around. It saddens me that we don't have enough, we don't lay out a structure where people will be guided in what the country needs more than just a title. Oh, look at me, I just graduated with a law degree. So that's a whole other topic. Doc, this is why knowing the time that we have, there's so many places, there's so many things that I want to talk about. We can't touch on all of them. That's why, even though I want to have a plan, I want to be solution oriented, unraveling, uncovering, and bringing these things to the table is where the start is. So that's why, if I'm not jumping, no, I know your mind, I know how you think from what I've seen. So I know if I ask for what you think solutions are, we can go through that for the next hour because you're a thinker. But now that we've put that on the table and we all know it, I want the drive for solutions to be collective, to be all of us. Let's know that these are the facts. You're not making things up. You're not being Uncle Ismail talking down on young people. We're placing it on the table so that all of us collectively. And when I talk about all of us, I'm not talking about just Gambia. This is an African problem. So that we will all know what the issues are and think about solutions in our own communities. I cannot believe we're halfway through. Oh my God, it's not fair. So what I want to do at this point, here at StemToRoots, we're hungry for knowledge. So I woo Sir by saying, hey Doc, tell me something you think I don't know. But I know there's a million things. Just pick one. Pick one. Tell me something you think I don't know, because that's a test for me. If I know it, I'll tell you, come on, Doc. I know that. Give me another one. If not, then I'll admit, and I hope my people will learn from it.
So I'm gonna put on my pharmacist medical hat real quick, because you just told me
and that's where we'll go on the second side. I can't wait to get to the pharmacist side. Yes.
So you just told me you moved from Boston to Houston.
Yes.
So now you're getting more sunlight.
Yes.
Are you getting enough vitamin D now because you're getting more sunlight?
I don't know if I have a way to measure.
Okay, so most people we get vitamin D, which is an essential vitamin, from the sun.
Right.
So if you move from Boston to Houston, does it mean you're automatically getting more vitamin D?
I would think so because of the sun. That's not the case.
So what you probably did not know, that us Black people have a hard time making vitamin D from the sun because of melanin. So the more melanin you have in your skin, the harder it is to make vitamin D, which is why a lot of Black people are vitamin D deficient in Africa and in the USA. Because
wait, so is melanin a direct correlation of your skin tone? Like the darker you are, the more melanin?
The darker you have melanin, because melanin protects you obviously from UV light from the sun. You need UV light to make vitamin D. So most people, even in Africa, you tell them, hey, I have enough vitamin D. I live in Gambia. I have all this sun. I'm like, no, actually, because you are darker, that means your melanin, which is protecting you, is also preventing you from making vitamin D at the rate as somebody who is white or lighter than you. So most
and if you're a Jola boy or a Serer and you're dark, God bless you.
Yeah, so there's not a direct correlation. Black people actually need to always screen for vitamin D deficiency because melanin does make it harder for our body to make vitamin D from the sun.
Doc, thank you for wearing your doctor's hat. And I think so. You think for us, like, apart from just measuring and knowing, would you say if you have supplements for vitamin D, you might as well be on them?
Yes, that's one supplement that I don't go without because I have vitamin D deficiency very often. And what happens? And if you remember, if you are in, let's say, Boston and you go to Gambia for 1 month, you come back darker.
Yes.
Because your body generates more melanin to protect you from the sun.
Whoa!
So when you're in a lighter environment, less sunlight or less harshness of the sunlight, your skin will naturally reduce the amount of melanin that it needs to protect you.
Every time I go to Gambia, come home, like I call it burnt. I didn't know that was my skin actually working for me.
Yeah, and Gambia, when you used to go to holiday and come back, boy, you're fresh. Like you're fresh. You're lighter.
Oh my God, mind blown. I expected nothing less. I hope everybody just learned from that. Perfect segue, Doc. Thanks for that. Perfect segue to InnovaRX. Because I think it's very, very important we talk about what you've actually done. So